Hey there, I'm Kat, and this is Brews and Reviews. It's time for another round of the Orilium Readathon, which was created by G from Book Roast, and I swore to myself that I wasn't going to take part this round. I'm a tired woman, exhausted, and yet here we are. It's because G creates these amazing readathons and I'm like, no, but I have to take part. Like, I have to. So here we are. Here we are again. I'll leave a link to all of the information about this readathon down in the description below. I'm not going to try and explain it because it just takes too long and I explain too badly. So we'll just move on. So it is the autumn equinox, which means that it's like the second round of trying to go for a specific goal. And I didn't do great during the spring readathon, which means that I still have one prompt that I didn't complete, that I'm going to have to complete during this readathon or else, you know, bad times. So interestingly enough, the prompt that I didn't actually complete was close your eyes and like pick a random book. So I'm just going to pick that right now with the books that are left on my 23 books to read in 2023 list. And I'm going to have to read it, and there's one I'm really hoping it's not, because it's a giant, and if it is that, then I'll die inside. So, okay. Oh! Well, that's annoying. Okay. So, the book that I landed on was Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo, which was actually a book that I'd planned to read for a different prompt for this video, but I can switch it out, it'll be no problem. So Hellbent is the sequel to Ninth House. I started reading it, I stopped reading it, I need to start reading it again from the beginning, so that's what it's going to be, and I have to read that book to be able to actually count anything else for this readathon. So that one's definitely getting read, regardless of what else happens with this TBR. Now, I am trying to become a wild form druid, so I have quite a lot of different things that I need to take on. And we'll start with animal studies, where I need to get an O, a Q, and a D. And for those prompts, I have to get a pet pick. I haven't done that yet because my cat's outside because it's summer and he's adventurous. So I'm gonna insert some footage here of when he finally picks a book for me. This is the boy. These are the books with the treats. Now we'll see if he figures out where the treats, boy. You're so close. Well, it's on there. Look, they're on there. No, not my finger. Oh. And he wins! He's found Kingdom of Ash, and now I have to finish reading it. Thanks? Wow, thank you, Cooper. What an interesting selection. The prompt for Q is to pick a debut book, and that is either a debut to you or a debut of an author. And for that one I picked Love. The Love Hypothesis. In my head, I was going to say Love Actually, because you keep saying Love Theoretically, and I'm like, well, it's not Love Theoretically, it must be Love Actually, and I'm like, no, it's not, it's The Love Hypothesis. Let's try that again, shall we? The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. I've been really wanting to do a reread of this one, and I'm going to for this, because it was Ali Hazelwood's debut book. If you don't know, this is a fake dating romance that is loosely based off of, like, Kylo Ren and Rey from Star Wars, and it's a woman in STEM falling in love with a very tall man, and I love it. The next prompt is to get a D in animal studies, and that is to read a book within 2 days. And for that one, I'm going to pick Legendary by Stephanie Garber, because I have that on audiobook. I feel like I can do it in 2 days, and I'm going to be dedicated and push myself through, because I really need to read that book. It's the second book in the Caraval trilogy, and it follows a character that I don't particularly like. I have read this book before, so it is another reread for me. I found it an interesting book, although I only really remember a couple of scenes from it, so I really need to read it to actually get to the third book in the series, so this one has to happen too. Now we're moving on to Art of Illusion, where I need to get an O and a Q. So the prompt for O is to read a book without touching the floor, aka the floor is lava. And for that one I'm going to be reading Flying Witch Volume 9. This is a manga series I've been reading, and this is the next one in the list, so I'm going to be reading it. It's very cute, it's very cozy, and it just has like nice vibes. And I can read it in about an hour, so you know, that makes me feel really good about myself if I can just do that. I don't have to like try and floor is lava my way around my house, I should be fine to just read it in one sitting. So to get a Q in Art of Illusion, you have to read an audiobook, and this is the one that I originally had Hellbent for. So panicking very quickly and trying to come up with a book to replace that, I have picked Small Favour by Jim Butcher. I was gonna say Jim Broadbent, and I'm like, I know he's an actor, but I don't think he's an author, and he definitely didn't write that book. What's going on with my head today, and why can I not concentrate or do basic thinking? This is the next Dresden Files book that I need to read, and I feel like it just inserts itself into my TBR quite nicely, so we'll go with that one. I have no idea what it's about, and even if I did at this point, I think it's like book 10, and I would be giving massive spoilers for anything that was happening. Harry Dresden's a wizard for hire. He often messes things up, and bad things happen around him. Next up, I need to get an O in astronomy, and for that one I have to read a book containing one of the words that was in the last song that I listened to. And the last song that I listened to was What Was I Made For by Billie Eilish, because that song is everywhere, just the same as Barbie is everywhere. And that was quite lucky really, because the book that I have been wanting to pick up for a while and have just sort of not pushed myself to read because I'm like, it's What Lies Beyond the Veil by Harper L. Woods. I don't know what this one is about, but I do know that it pops up on my TikTok an awful lot, and it pops up with like buzzwords for me, so I'm like, I should read that, and I just haven't. So it's good because now I will have to for this prompt. And I was gonna say it's quite a big book, but actually the text is rather large and like the margins are nice, so this one will actually be alright to read, I think. Then I need to get an O, Q, and a D in restoration. So for O, I need to start a book before bed. And for that one, I'm going to pick Your Darling Death by Lauren Carter. This is a, I think, 50-page novella, and it's a horror novella, and I've been wanting to read something by Lauren Carter for a while, so I'm going to be picking it up and seeing what happens. I literally don't even know what it's about, but I'm intrigued. So I'm going to pick this one up and see how it is. To get a Q qualification, I need to read a book in different spots every time I read it. So like the shorter the book, the better. I really should have switched these two prompts around, this and the last one, but you know, we're gonna live on the edge and maybe I'll have to move around a lot. So for this one I'm gonna read Paris Dalincourt is About to Crumble, which is the sequel to Rosalind Palmer Takes the Cake. It's a romance book that is based on the Great British Bake Off, and I'm very intrigued to see what the second one is gonna be like. I don't know, it's got a rainbow cake on the front and I just think they're really cute, so let's see. I really enjoyed Rosalind Palmer, and I'm hoping that I'll enjoy this one too. So the prompt for the D qualification is to read a book that starts with a letter that you picked on a random letter generator. Yeah, and originally I did this and it came up with X. X. As if. So I did it again and I got O, which is not a letter that I have very many books of. But then I was looking through my Kindle list and I realised that I have One of Us is Lying, and I feel like it's about time that I read that book because I think everybody's read that book and I haven't. So maybe I should read it, and it fits for this prompt, so that's why it's on the list. I don't know what it's about. I think it's like a YA thriller with maybe murder. Not sure if it has murder. Somebody's lying. Gonna find out who? I also need to get an O, a Q, and a D in shapeshifting. So to get the O prompt, I need to read a book with vampires in it. And for that one, I'm going to be reading Hot Vampire Next Door, Volume 4, Season 4. Technically, this is like a Kindle Vella thing where it's released periodically, but the next bind up is finally out on the 7th of August, which means that I can read it for this prompt. I feel like it was like fate, because I've just not even been keeping up with when this next volume was going to come out, and here it is, right in time for a vampire prompt. So, you know, it's just fortuitous timing. If you're wondering what this book is about, it's about a woman and the hot vampire that lives next door. She lives in a town where there are like magical creatures, there are fae, there are vampires, there are shifters, there are witches. It's really interesting. I really like Nikki Sekro's writing, so I'm just really excited to get back into this world. To get a Q in shapeshifting, I had to pick a book using a random colour generator, and this one came up with like red, orange. It just said red, orange. So for that one I'm going to pick Blood Red Road by Maura Young, which is a book that I started when I was on holiday, and I got 70 pages in and then I just stopped for some reason, because my brain, when it comes to reading physical books, is somehow empty of all thought, and I just forget that they exist, even though this wall of books behind me stares at me every single day. I will be picking this up to continue with it, because I was really enjoying the start of the reread, and I was like, oh, I really like being in this world again, and then it just slipped my mind, so yeah. And then lastly, to get a D in this prompt, I had to pick a book with a chair on the cover, and I had a book that had a chair on the cover. Like, I have a couple of books with a chair on the cover. I've read them all, and I don't want to reread them. And it's so unfortunate. However, I am loosely going to interpret chair to mean something that you sit on, and you can pretty much sit on anything. However, I am actually doing something that has like a built-in place for your butt. So for this one I'm picking Ranklestone by Darren Charlton. And the thing for your butt is this canoe. Like, your butt sits in the canoe. There's usually a little shelf thing that you can sit your butt on, and I think that that counts as a chair. So this is a YA queer book about a zombie apocalypse. And there's a camp that's surrounded by water that's kind of untouched, except it's becoming winter, and I think the lake is going to be like frozen over, so then the zombies will potentially be able to get to them. I don't know, I have not read a zombie book for a while, and this one's been sat on my shelves like, read me, so I guess I will. So those are all the books that I'm going to be reading for my main Orilium Readathon TBR, and I'm also thinking of doing like the Impling sub-challenge, but I also feel like I should maybe focus on this giant TBR that I've already got before I start adding to it. So maybe I'll do a TBR later on in the month. Would you guys like to see that if I did that? I'm not including it in this part of the TBR because I'm not thinking about it until I've at least made some more headway with the actual TBR that I've got. I'm very excited to do this. I know that it's going to exhaust me, but also I just can't say no to the magical readathon. I just can't. Orilium Readathon always coming at me. So here we are, gonna read these things. Just gonna go for it. And if you like this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!